Apparently, I'm the only one that's sipping over here because the co-host is over here looking confused. But welcome back to another episode of Sippin With Sin, the podcast where we talk about stuff and things and stuff that are very important to everybody. We're just going to be delusional and pretend that everybody cares about everything we talk about all the time because it's super important and it's what makes the world go round. Welcome back. Another week, another episode. We're here to do the stuff and things. Yeah. And that beverage was quite tasty. I'm not going to lie. I need to not be drinking it that fast because I'm going to be hella thirsty later.
What did you have?
I can't tell you. It's a secret.
There.
I will say this, though, before we get into it. Dude, the vodka thing lately, I don't know what's been that. Like, me and the missus, vodka's been hitting for us.
You're still on that?
We're still on it. I don't know. So I got Brave the other day. Not really Brave. I think I've had it before. But, like, it's just been plain vodka. It's not any kind of flavor. This is straight up just regular plain vodka with whatever mix, right? Like club soda, whatever we're doing. And I was like, we already had the regular vodka and, like, the stuff to mix. And I was like, this whipped vodka, though. It's like, if you put that in an orange drink, like Crush or, like, Fanta or something, you can make, like, a creamsicle. I was like, okay. Like whipped cream vodka, right? You following? So I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I sipped the vodka regular. And I was like, dang, you could actually shoot this. Like, it has... Because I'm not like a vodka shooter. Like, taking shots of vodka is not really my thing. Right now, we'll see how this progresses. You know? But the whipped, like, I swig and I was like, okay. And then I put it in the cream, like, in... I think we got Orange Crush. I think it's what we had. It was a little... It tastes fine. It was good. It tastes like a creamsicle. But it's a little too sweet for me. I think it was too sweet for her, too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really do soft drinks. So
yeah, I don't really like sweet. I don't like sweet alcohols in general.
I can't do sweet stuff. It makes me doesn't make me like throw up or get sick. It just makes me feel bad. Like, I don't know. You know, like it just like I drink it. I'm like, oh, this is a bad idea. Like I could just feel sick from it. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's like, no, this ain't for me. But yeah, so the vodka.
Fair.
So that's been a whole bit of a deal, but not really.
Really funny that's the thing that changed the game up for you, because here, like, it's pretty much a whiskey household here. So
I mean,
I
don't know why I'm not doing whiskey right now. Usually I am, but I haven't done a lot of whiskey lately.
I'm not really a clear liquor person. Like I've had it before. It's just not really my.
Maybe it's because we're fasting, and I'm under a fake impression that the brown liquor is probably worse for you than clear liquor. So I'm like, you know, hey, you let me, you know, none of it's good for you. I know this, but let me just pretend, okay? Let me just pretend that that's an actual thing, because that's what I'm doing. I don't really know what started the vodka thing, but whatever. I'm sure it's a passing phase. Like, I had tequila last summer. Tequila sounded really good for, like, a brief thing. But not as long as the vodkas lasted.
You know what? I just Googled it just because that was really funny. And according to Google, clear liquors like gin and vodka are less likely to cause hangover if you're not mixing them with...
Because it has less sugar, right? Like, is that what it is? There's no sugars in it or something? Or I'm sure there's sugar, but...
The stuff that pretty much what you're buying now is going to have sugar in it.
Well, no, I mean, what we're drinking is plain. Like, there's nothing in. It's just regular.
Yeah, but you're mixing it or chasing it, right? Like you're not just drinking straight up vodka. You're mixing with juice or with sodas and shit, and that has a bunch of sugar in it. So that's what can make you feel bad and give you hangovers. As opposed to drinking stuff straight that doesn't have that same level of sugar content in it, so you don't feel as bad the next day. But I will say, whatever works for you, man. You wanna drink some clear liquor and you want to mix it up. You want to do the thing, sure. The thing is, you're a parent now, right? So you can't just you can't do what you used to do anymore, because it's not about you anymore. It's about your little ones. So
that's why Saturday has been like our designated day. Like, you get through the week, you go limping into Saturday. And it's like, all right, dinner time. It's about time for you to go to bed. And you you're like, okay, it's time for me to.
What I can say is it definitely gets a little easier when he grows up because he can talk, right? When he's older, he'll be able to talk and walk around and like take care of his own stuff and keep himself occupied a little bit more without you constantly having to be there. But I will say when it comes to like bedtime, not necessarily nap time, like you have to figure that out yourself. You have to have your own routine. Bedtime, you definitely need a routine as well. And you need to keep that routine as long as you possibly can because it's just easier for him to adjust and to adapt and school and summers and all that
Until he
stuff. Like
says,
it
"Screw your
shouldn't be touched.
routine." He's like, "I'm tired of this routine I've had for a year," and he just kicks everything in the face and starts screaming. He's like, "No."
But here's the thing, though. Here's the great thing
He's like in
about
a
him being
developmental
older.
leap or something. Like I don't know what he's doing right now, but he's like not
It's all
having it.
good. He's gonna get older, obviously, because kids don't age in reverse, right?
They
So when he
should
gets
Benjamin
older,
Button
you're gonna
style.
have this magical thing that you can use at night to help him go to sleep called melatonin. And once you can use melatonin gummies, I'm telling you,
Oh my
it's so
god,
much easier.
Christian out here.
Life is easy.
When did you start giving your kid melatonin?
When he started fucking around, and then he found out.
Christian's like, "Daddy needs to drink his whiskey. Take your shit and go to sleep."
He's like, Dad, I want to stay up and watch you play Mass Effect. And I'm like, oh, for real? Here, take this gummy. And if you can stay up past 30 minutes, you can watch all you want. He's just out, bro.
What'd you do?
So
Lie and
we're
tell him it
good.
was a Flintstone gummy or something?
I don't have to lie anymore. I just tell him the truth. I'm like, hey, you know what time it is? Go get your gummies. You only need one. Go get him one of the gummies. He takes it, and I'm telling you, bro, 30 minutes, like a light, he's out.
That's messed up.
It's great.
Melatonin doesn't really work for me.
You're an adult.
I know it's some bullshit. I was told to take it because I have trouble sometimes shutting my brain off to go to sleep. And I was like, maybe I'll take melatonin. I was like, this damn thing don't work.
I mean, it's different for everyone. I can say for children, like it's great. Did you get to the point to where you don't really need it so much? Like after it becomes routine, they just kind of get used to going to bed around a certain time, and you're good to go.
Like, I don't get it. He was literally, what was it, like a month ago or a couple weeks ago? First off, he used to get rocked. Every night he would go get rocked and get to sleep. It's like his nightly ritual. She would hold him, read to him, all that stuff, rock him. Then he would kind of pass out on her and she'd put him in bed. Well, he grew out of that where he doesn't want to be rocked. Like now he would sit there with her and they would be chilling in the dark in his room. And then she'd be like, are you ready to go to bed? And he would just point to his bed and like he'd want her just to put in the bed and let him be a big boy and go to sleep. She'd close the door, all that. Now it's like when it goes to that stage and you put him in the bed, he'll scream for some reason. And he's waking up middle of the night screaming. So I don't know if like he's scared of something. Like I don't know what's going on. He has a nightlight and stuff. Like I have no clue what's happening with him. But during the day, he will be fine. Like if it's nap time, he'll go in there, point to his bed, you'll put him in there, he'll squeal with happiness and he'll pass out. I don't know. It's so weird. But we keep him on the same schedule. He's just being a little punk. He just likes to make disco. He's like, I'm going to age my father at a rapid pace where by the time I'm old enough to do stuff with him, he's going to look like damn old man River out here walking around with a cane and struggling to live life, drinking prune juice and watching the stories, talking about damn kids getting off his yard. And
You're gonna be drinking vodka and prune juice.
look, the vodka's not that bad. It's been like a couple weeks of us just kind of sipping vodka. It is getting close to St. Patty's Day though,
Yes, it is.
and that means, oof, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. You're not built the way you used to be. You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna make.
No,
I still
recovery times
remember.
are slow now,
Yeah.
bro. When I was in my
No,
early, like, legal drinking age, like the early 20s.
I like these.
Well, I mean, because if I say early 20s, some people be like, oh, 20 years old. No. Like, legal drinking age, early 20s range. Like, that recovery time, you have a bit of a night with some friends and, you get a little tipsy. You wake up next morning, you have like a ham sandwich, you're good to go. Like, it ain't the thing. Now, I wake up, I'm in like an IV drip or something. I'm just like, oh, Jesus. Roll me around in like a hospital for a day.
It's different for me because I didn't drink anything until I was 25, right? So I didn't really have and I didn't drink much anyway. I'd like have a sip of this, have a sip of that, and I was done. Uh, so I haven't really been. I've only been fully inebriated into the next day once, and that was actually pretty recent. And that shit hurt.
Yeah,
that shit hurt really bad.
That's why you learn your limits, and you hit that limit. Do what?
It messed up my whole day. Like I remember just being like, it got to the point to where I was like in the damn bathroom, just on the fucking. I was just like leaning over the sink, and I was just like, God, I know we don't talk much, but if you could just make me throw up right now, I'm sure that would end my pain, and I could just go on about my life. And it didn't happen until damn near the end of the day, and I was like, it's too late now. But yeah, dude, it sucked. And then after that, I was like, I don't think this is for me. I think I'm just gonna hang out. Yeah, the limit is just to leave it alone. I'm too old for that now.
So you don't drink anymore?
Should have started young. I do. I mean, so right now, the time of this recording, I am not drinking. I'm completely sober. Like, I wasn't drinking to begin with, but I am. I'm on a little bit of a like a soft diet, and alcohol is one of the parts of one of the things I'm not indulging in right now. So I got until October, and then I can kind of ease back into doing what I want. But yeah, man, D-Day's in October for me. So I'm just I'm chilling, trying to wait. I've been hitting the gym a little bit more, just trying to straighten up, man, tighten up a little bit. So I don't feel so old and rickety, you know?
Oh, it's going to happen anyways. You're going to feel old and rickety as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had, I will say this, I haven't had like a straight up just greasy ass, just cheesy bacon-filled burger in like 2 months.
I'm hungry as hell right now.
That's all I can think about. That's all I can think about right now is that.
Yeah.
But we'll get to it. But anyway, man, what have you been doing this week? How's this week been for you?
All right. Well, I guess we'll get in that section since you don't want to hear about limits and learning your limits, learning to cut off. I've learned.
All I gotta say is this: when it comes to one thing I will say
about your limits, everybody will learn. The more you partake, if you partake in alcohol, you know, you will learn. Like, all right, I might need to chill. Like, I'm hitting a stage where if I keep going, I'm gonna be dumb, and tomorrow's gonna hurt. And there's those times you will do really, really well. At least I do. I will do really, really well. I'll be like, all right, it's chill time. Maybe I should drink some water. Like, it's chill time. Let's tone it down, slow it down, mellow it out. You know, drink some water, chill for a minute. But there's those times where for some reason there's like that little other voice where you're like, I'm gonna tone it down, and he just throat punches the other voice. And he's like, hell no, crank it up. And then the next day I'm like, damn it, why do you have to throat punch people? But that doesn't happen hardly often.
This is what I can say about limits. There's two sides to it. One is if you're gonna drink, obviously drink responsibly. Oh yeah. Drink a lot of water. Yeah. Like whatever you're drinking, make sure you're drinking water after it. Like that's the easiest way to be chill. Like no secrets. Just pretty literally drink fucking water.
I have water like on standby.
Yeah. Like, just drink water. That's all you gotta do. Whiskey. If you're not a talkative person and you decide to indulge in alcohol and you start becoming talkative, that's when it's time to stop. Like legit. If you're not talkative and then you start talking, you're done. Just trust me, you're done. And here's the other part of that. There are a lot of people out there
like a Super Saiyan, you might be done too.
We'll talk about that another time. But yeah, same. He's correct. If you dress up for Halloween as a grape drink,
you might be done before you started. You might be done if you dress up as grape drink for Halloween before you even start. That is a very good point, especially if the suit is way too damn small. You're like,
hey man,
you're like someone trying to put 20 ounces of grape drink in an 8-ounce bottle or something.
Just looking like a pack of damn hot dogs.
All right. So, with this podcast, now that we've spent 15 minutes of your time.
Don't forget. There's people really, some people just want to have a good time no matter what.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even if you're drinking, you think to yourself, when life hands you lemons, say fuck the lemons and bail. Remember that.
Drink responsibly. That's the moral of the story. Drink responsibly. If you drink. If you don't, awesome. That's awesome.
And make sure you get yourself some adult vitamin gummies, okay?
I thought you were about to break out the melatonin again. I was like, oh my God, this guy.
No.
All right. So as we like to do with this podcast, we like to talk about what we're watching, reading, listening to, playing lately. Now that we've went on a whole tangent about a pack of hot dogs and everything else. Good God. Yeah. So, I'll start, I guess. You want me to start? You want to start? Who wants to start?
Go for it.
Okay. I have been continuing my watch through of Breaking Bad. I'm on the last season now. And I want you to know, the seasons were like, I want to say 10, 12 episodes each. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been good.
I think it's 10.
Skylar still sucks. I don't care. That character just sucks. She sucks so bad. Like, I just can't. She just gets on my nerves. There are like that many episodes until I think the season before the last season. It was 13. And I have to say, oh no, it gets better. Because here we go to the last season. I'm like, all right, let's push through. 16 episodes. And I was like, God, I'm going to be here for like 2 years. Not really, but I think I have a favorite character. And it's probably not going to be popular.
Who's your favorite?
Do you have any guesses who my favorite character would be?
Is it Jesse Pinkman?
I think that's the missus. I think she said she likes Jesse because he can be funny at times. He's really dumb. But he kind of has like I don't know, he's kind of all over the place. He's like a decent arc.
Yeah. Then who is your favorite? Is it what's his name? God. Not Walt, but the other guy. No, that's not your favorite on this show anyway. I don't know. Who's your favorite? That's a good question.
Gus Fring.
I should have guessed that.
I was thinking somebody, good villain. I would love to see. I'm drawing a blank on the actor's name.
Esposito.
Giancarlo?
No. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to see him in like a cartel movie thing. It's like more stuff. I just feel like he pulls that off so well. He's so sophisticated. He's so smart and emotionless the whole time. Like, I love a great villain. And he still has, if you haven't seen it by now, the show ended 10 years ago. So I don't know what you're doing. He has the best death I think I've ever seen of a villain. And like, way to go out.
Really? All right.
Do you remember his death? Like how it happens?
I do.
The explosion. But like, what makes it, like, it's explosion, normal, whatever. What makes it so badass is the fact that he walks out, adjusts his suit, fixes his suit, and then you see that half his face is just gone. And he's still calm and collected and then falls over. I don't know. He goes out like a badass. I loved it. Gus is very interesting.
I thought, see, when you asked who your favorite was, I was assuming it was a character that was gonna be around longer than he was.
I would say Walt,
but that makes a lot of sense.
Or Jesse. Walt, to me, though, like, especially now going to last season, Walt gets so damn cocky that it's annoying. I'm like, come on now. Like, yeah, you took out Gus, but Gus had so much stuff. Like, there's so many layers you should have known, and you're just like, oh, I could run this. Like, no, you can't run that. Stick to chemistry, because it's everywhere. Be a chemist. Chemistry is everywhere. But yeah. So we've been watching that. What?
I was just saying, what else have you been getting into?
So yeah, Breaking Bad. Been watching that on the final season. And I have also, we've been watching more Batman the Animated Series. We have went through a whole season because my son won't stop watching it, apparently. And yeah, there's a lot of episodes I don't remember. There's some that I remember watching as a kid and it's real nostalgic. Like, it's all nostalgic, but there's some I'm like, I don't remember this episode. I don't remember there being that many episodes, but there's a shitload of it.
Yeah. What's one of the episodes that you recently watched that you didn't remember existed?
I watched one where it's kind of weird. It's literally I just watched one a few minutes ago. Killer Croc is you're in the woods and you run into like these other escaped from circus people. With like a boy that's like a seal or something.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
Batman's like
actually
running
do
through the
remember
woods
that.
after him, and Killer Croc's sedated, and all kinds of stuff happens.
I do remember that.
I don't remember that. Me and you were actually talking about it before the podcast. It's a Poison Ivy episode where she has like a family and she's calmed down and she's all.
Yeah, I remember that vividly because well, we'll get you finish. You finish.
But yeah, so she has a family and then like it's all a big trick and she's married and stuff. But we were talking about a line. Robin talks about you got some weeds that need whacking as he clips like one of her like minions, and I'm like, oh my god. But yeah, there's several I don't remember.
The reason why I remember that episode so well is because remember how like her family turns into those giant like weird
Cactus
goblin
things.
creatures with the talons and shit.
Yeah.
Like I remember that because in a game that I used to play, it was called Batman Vengeance, and it was on like PlayStation and GameCube and the original Xbox and PlayStation 2, excuse me. And those creatures were a bitch because this is back in the day when die in a game by getting hit 3 times, and yeah, if they scratched you like twice, dude, you're dead. And I remember them being a problem, and you could only beat them with like certain weapons. I think it was like you had to have this electric batarang or something you had to use, or else it wouldn't work. And then also, one thing that I remember about this game as well, really quick, is you would be Batman and you would knock a villain out, right? Like henchmen, you would knock them out. But if you didn't handcuff them, they would wake back up later and then come back to beat your ass again. And I remember that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid because I ran out of handcuffs. I was like, whatever, I don't need to handcuff everybody. They're knocked out. But at the time, I'm a child. I'm like, oh yeah, they're dead. I've knocked them out. They're dead. They're not coming back. But dude, like 4 villains woke up after me beating on them a little bit. They woke up and beat my ass. They beat the shit out of me, dude. I was like afraid to beat that level later because they jumped me. It was bad. They're like, fight back, Batman, fight back. They beat me up, dude. So after that's why I remember that so well, is because of that moment. But anyway,
all right. And the last thing I was taking a little hiatus from streaming, a little like mental break, Yeah, I got to take care of yourself.
Of course, as one does.
And I made my return, and we have been playing Dead Space Remake. So I've been into that this week.
Absolutely.
God dang, that game looks so good. The visuals, they did a really good job. There's been a couple weird bugs I've run into already. One of them is like a save at the save station. Like I went back in the next day to play and like pick up the playthrough, and it's like the camera was locked on the save station, but I could see my character moving, but the camera wouldn't move. It was stuck. And that happened with like a couple of times loading it, and finally it like undid whatever and worked. Another one was I was in the tram, and one of those little like tiny little chicken wing looking things jumped on me, and it knocked me out of the tram, and I was on the ground, and I was like, wait. And then all this stuff started coming for me. I was like, wait, what just happened? Is that part of the game? I don't remember that. It was a bug that just knocked me out of the tram and screwed everything all up.
That really sucks. I'm sorry that happened.
Well, I mean, and I've died a lot.
Terrible.
Like, stupid stuff just kills me in that game at times. I'll be slacking, not following the rule of saving. Like, every time I see a save station, and then I'll have to, like, backtrack a whole bunch because I died because something stupid happened. Yeah. It's been awesome. Dead Space has been... I've really been enjoying it. And, dude, it's been so good. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. But enough about me. What have you been into this past week?
Not a whole lot. Dead Space is definitely on the list. It's coming up for me. And then Hogwarts Legacy, of course, is coming up. At the time of this recording, I should be getting that game tomorrow night or the next day. So we'll see. But within the next 48 hours, I should be getting Hogwarts Legacy because my fiance definitely really wants to play that. I want to play it too, but she definitely wants to play. I have Dead Space waiting in the wings because right now I am playing Mass Effect 3, and god dang, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot so much about Mass Effect 3 because Mass Effect 2 was my favorite, and I played Mass Effect 2 several times. So I knew exactly what needed to be done in that game, how to do it, where to go, who to talk to, who not to talk to, like all that stuff. It just came flooding back. But with Mass Effect 3, I literally only remember a couple of things. I remember Javik, the Prothean you get if you had the DLC. I remember Liara is one of the first people you get because you couldn't really use her much in Mass Effect 2. I remember Ashley was really annoying in this game more so than the first one if you chose her to live in the first game. And I remember there's another soldier that you have at the beginning of the game, brand new character. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head, but I remember I only used him the beginning of the game because after you get Garrus, you don't need any other soldiers. You just use Garrus because Garrus is God in that game. Anyway, he's not God, but he's great. Garrus is one of my favorite characters in the entirety of Mass Effect. And then the last thing I remember fully about Mass Effect 3 was if you played Mass Effect 2 and there was a romance with Jack, she was not a playable character in 3. And that really fucking bummed me out because Jack was one of my favorite characters in Mass Effect 2. When you see her in Mass Effect 3, it's a side mission. And I was like, you don't even, what? So that really pissed me off. So I remember those things. Everything else, I don't remember. I don't remember much of it. I remember not liking the end because it was the ending and everybody talked about it. But what I remember that the reason why I don't remember so much about that game is because after I played the story, you and I specifically played the multiplayer all of the time, dude. You remember that?
Yeah.
You remember doing that?
I remember going in on it.
We played the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3 almost more than any game that we've played together online. And I don't even play shooters like that. Like shooters aren't really my like I love RPGs and story based games and shit like that. Like that's and fighting games. That's what I play. But Mass Effect 3, dude, like I don't know why. We just played the shit out of that game. I remember I went through a breakup playing that game, and that the things that I would do to take my mind off of getting broken at the time. And it was Mass Effect 3 and the gym. That's like all I was doing, and I worked all the time. But other than that, that was it. But anyway, Mass Effect 3 right now. I'm loving the game. I actually, speaking of Jack, at the side mission with Jack when you have to go and rescue the kids from the Grissom Academy school. So that was really fun. Even though those kids are not kids, they're all adults in the game. At least the character models make them look like full grown adults. So I just did that, and I barely have anybody on my team. I have Liara, Garrus, Edie is now on the team because she gets a body, and I think Edie and Garrus are like the only characters I really fuck with. Like they're always on my team. But I'm doing that, and aside from playing Mass Effect 3, I've watched what we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I started watching this anime, man. Like I'm still watching Peaky Blinders, but I watched this new anime, and this is the first anime of its kind that I've watched. And I don't know if I talked about it or not before, so I'm going to go into it now. But it's called Blue Lock. And Blue Lock is a sports anime. And I'm not a big sports person. I'm not huge into sports. For those of you who know me, you already know that. For those of you who don't know me, I'm not a sports fan. It's just not my jam. I like comic books and other things. So with Blue Lock, it's an anime about soccer. And it's about how in Japan they don't have a soccer team. They don't have like all this really cool stuff that we have here in the States and South America and stuff about soccer. So what happens is they're trying to build this team of just like champion soccer players, and only one of these people is going to be able to go out and join the U.S. teams for soccer and be like Japan's champion for soccer, right? And it's a bunch of kids, right? And in a school essentially called Blue Lock. And the point of Blue Lock is to see which one of them is the player, which one is the best striker, right? And this is anime, dude. Like, if you're not a soccer fan, which I'm not a soccer fan, watch the show. If you are a soccer fan, watch the show. If you like anime, watch the show. If you don't like anime, watch this show. It's fantastic. The main character is an actual likable main character. But so many of the side characters feel like main characters too. Like they don't get left in the wind. It's not like a Goku situation where Goku shows up and then he's going to get the job done. Everybody else plays a little bit, then Goku shows up. Like, no, everybody in this show gets their time to shine. Everybody has their own specific thing that they do. Everybody has their own way of playing the game of soccer, and like it's an anime, so it's like super over the top. This anime legit is like a 90s action movie but Japanese. It's fantastic. The animation is smooth. The plays make sense. Like the way that the characters are, it's so good. I'm watching it, and I got to the newest episode and watched it. And when the episode went off, I was pissed because I wanted more. And that doesn't happen too often when I'm watching an anime. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta see the next one right fucking now. Like it's been a while since I felt that. So I can't praise this anime enough. I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, have you watched Haikyuu? Have you watched this and that? Like, no, I haven't watched any sports anime ever. Haven't read any sports manga. Like, it's just, I didn't think I was going to be into it. But Blue Lock has opened my eyes, so I'm now going to go back and start watching all of the other sports animes. There's one about baseball. There's one about basketball. There's one about volleyball. Like, I'm going to watch all of them. If they're anything like Blue Lock, I'm going to love them. So that's what I've been doing with my free time other than working. And once again, Blue Lock. If you got Crunchyroll, watch it. It's fantastic.
Okay. Look at you getting into sports stuff. I want to touch briefly. You talked about Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy had some news. It's got pretty good reviews. From what
it got like a 9 out of 10 on most things, right?
Good reviews. But it broke a record, actually. Time of recording this a couple days ago on its, I guess it'd be the first day of its release, with it being, like, if you got the deluxe, you got to play it 72 hours early. And it actually broke a Twitch record for most watched single-player game with 1.3 million concurrent viewers on February 7th. The last game that broke the record was Cyberpunk 2077 that had 1.14 million viewers in 2020. So that's pretty crazy.
Damn.
You think about some of the big like AAA game releases and games that are like super hyped up for Hogwarts to shatter that record. But one thing that definitely helped it would be the drops. They had Twitch drops on it. You could get like cosmetic stuff. So that definitely added to people tuning in and, lurking and stuff like that. But there's a huge Harry Potter fan base. So, I mean, it's not super surprising, especially since the game is actually good and getting good reviews. But yeah. Now, it also should be known that it didn't break the all-time concurrent record of like most viewers. It's just for single-player game. The all-time concurrent record goes to League of Legends, which is no shocker, which 3.11 million viewers, which is nutty. But I wanted to throw that out there. The missus will be playing Hogwarts soon, so that I'm sure I'll be watching, and I may play some, but I'm sure we can talk about it, next week or two as we see more on it. And eventually we'll talk more about God of War, stuff like that as well. Speaking of God of War, did you see they're teasing a Super Bowl commercial?
No, I didn't see that. That's the first I'm hearing of that, actually.
It's the hammer, drawing a huge blank. I think it's the hammer. I think it's Thor's hammer. I think with the snow all around it, and it's teasing something God of War related announcement during the Super Bowl. I don't know what it could be. DLC maybe? I don't know. It has to be DLC. That's about the only thing I could think of. Unless they've got some kind of something for the show, but there's no way, because I don't even think they've cast people yet.
Yeah, I don't think they've cast for the show either. I don't even know if the script's finished. As far as the game goes, I hope that it's probably like New Game Plus, because they did.
You're paying millions of dollars to announce New Game Plus, though? That's kind of...
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's probably not just New Plus. Like, it's probably New Game Plus some DLC. The DLC is probably going to be
because you could announce that like any time and get plenty of traction, but doing it during the Super Bowl is like huge real estate. Like that's expensive shit. I forgot what this year's Super Bowl commercial price was, but it's crazy high.
I'm not sure either, to be honest with you. But like I said, those are the only things that would make sense. New Game Plus and DLC. I don't know what the DLC is. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's going to be something that's like Atreus related.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Super Bowl
I would
price, a 30-second Super Bowl commercial cost a record high average of $7 million for 30 seconds.
not worth it, man. Not
30
at all.
seconds. That's what I'm saying. Like, whatever they're announcing, it has to be something pretty big to drop that kind of coin for that, to me. Like, they better be coming out with something crazy. I don't know what it could be, though. Like, I feel like that's a waste for DLC, but maybe not.
I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. The Super Bowl is very soon, so we'll see.
The time of recording, it's actually this Sunday. So, you do anything for Super Bowl? Or do y'all like go anywhere or watch it or anywhere? Because I know you don't care about sports, but I don't know if y'all did like something, like family or something.
I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna put myself on blast right now. I'm gonna put myself on blast, and this is the truth. I don't typically do stuff for the Super Bowl, but whoever is in the closest proximity to me, wherever I'm living at the time of each Super Bowl, whoever's throwing the biggest party, that's typically where I'll be. And the reason is because food. And
this guy,
I love food, bro.
You're on a diet, Christian.
Not on Sunday. Not.
Then why are you going to blast me on Saturday for having vodka if you're going to be like, I can eat on Sunday? This guy. Oh, my God.
It's Sunday's cheat day, bro. Sunday's cheat day.
Well, Saturday's my damn cheat. Weekends are my cheat day. Hell with you. You let me have my weekend.
It's not just cheat days, bro.
I'm old. I can modify my rules.
Okay.
Yeah. You leave me be. All right. Enough of that. Super Bowl is Sunday. I'm not even going to ask who you have. I don't really know who I have. I just want a good game. We're going to be eating food. That's the main thing. We're going to be eating food and hanging out with family.
This is one Super Bowl, bro. This is one Super Bowl where I really don't give a damn. Like, I don't care. I'm not a fan of either one of the teams. Like, I'm not a big fan of either of the teams. So, I just, honestly, like you said, I just want a good game. I just don't want it to be boring. That's all I got.
Yeah. I wanted the Bengals to go when it come down to, like, the Final Four. Just because I watched Joe Burrow.
That actually would have been dope. That would have been dope. So I feel your pain on that.
Well, I mean, I like the Bengals colors, and I'm a big fan of Joe Burrow. I watched him. My wife's family is big LSU fans, so I got to watch Joe Burrow for 2 years in college, and I just like the dude. The dude's cool and collected, swaggy, and he's really good. So I like watching him.
I've never heard anybody describe someone as swaggy.
But you wouldn't think he's like that, though. Like, you listen to him talking and everything, he's like, nothing really phases him. He doesn't really get rattled about stuff. But then he'll walk up in the stadium like some kind of crazy outfit that his receiver that used to play in college with him probably picked for him. And he'll, like, walk in and just, like, own it. It's like, this dude, I don't know. He does, like, no media. Dude doesn't really like social media. He doesn't really post on social media. He does no media stuff. Like, it's hard to catch him, like, on a podcast or doing any kind of stuff. He does his, like, I guess required post-game interviews and pre-game, like, the stuff that he has to do for the team. But other than that, he's, like, quiet. He stays low-key. He did drop that he's a nerd,
That's
though,
fair.
which I appreciated. They were asking him something, and he said about after the game or something, he's like, yeah, I'll probably go play Super Smash Brothers. And, of course, none of the reporters knew what he was talking about. And then he said, I'm a Ness main. That's nerd stuff. None of y'all know that. And he just left it at that.
He said, I'm a Ness main?
Yeah, I'm a Ness main. Okay, while we're on football, one more thing.
Man.
Please tell me you know who Jamal Williams is.
Mm-hmm.
Running back for the Lions. It's a huge nerd.
Yeah.
He's awesome. I love him. Please tell me you saw his interview. It was all over the internet.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I know. There's a lot. He was trending for a little bit one day.
Pokemon interview where the dude called it Pokemans and it pissed him off.
I think I sent you this on Instagram maybe.
And then
recently.
The other one was during the games they'll do like where you're from. You know what I'm talking about? Where they do like the little player picture. It's like Jamal Williams from. This dude straight up said, what was it like? Leader of I don't know. He had this whole like. I guess it's Naruto. I don't really know. But he had this whole thing. But when he said it, his eyes got so big. Dude, I laughed so damn hard on his intro. This dude was going in. He had the headband on and everything in this damn little player intro thing. It was so funny. I appreciate it.
I think it was Naruto, by the way. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this episode, and that would be Last of Us, episode 4, coming off of the.
Oh, we're talking about Last of Us. I didn't even watch the episode this week.
Wow! Oh my God! Yes,
I'm kidding.
Shut up.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, so we're coming off episode 3 in a very get you in the feels, beautiful episode, and we go to episode 4. I don't have a lot to get into to start with because we've gotten completely sidetracked a bunch. So I'm gonna kind of let Christian get into his thing, and then we'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah, you got stuff. I won't hold you. I don't want you to not be able to talk about the stuff.
I'm trying to think. What was I gonna say about this episode? I mean, there's stuff I want to say that I can't say yet, probably, because I don't want to like.
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly where your head is, and it's I know.
I'll say this though. So the faction that you meet in this episode, the group, there is not in the game. They don't really go into detail on them or really personify them at all. You're just kind of known like they're bad guys. That's about it. They're trying to kill you. You're getting more like names and stuff. This episode's really cool because you meet Perry. Perry, the actor that plays Perry, what is his name? Jeffrey. Is it Jeffrey? What is his name? Oh my!
I don't remember his actual name. I know who he is. I don't remember his full name.
Where did I can see him, and I'm drawing a huge blank. What is his name? Maybe it's not Jeffrey. What am I thinking of? Anyways, the actor that plays Perry is actually the same. He's the voice actor that does Tommy in the game. And it's really cool.
It is Jeffrey Pierce.
Jeffrey Pierce. Okay, thank you. And so you get that. That's actually pretty cool. I really like that. You get to meet Kathleen, who is not in the game in any shape or form. She's a new character they've added to kind of.
I was so confused when she pulled up. I was like, "Who is this bitch?" I didn't know who she was, and then realized that she's brand new for the show.
Yeah, she's new stuff. I see why I couldn't find his name. He looks completely different in this picture they have of him right here. I don't even think that's the same guy. Anyways, yeah, so she's new, but they're pretty much just trying to like, I guess, show you more of the people and like what they're doing. What we call them, resistance. They're not Fireflies. They're not Fedra. So
they're like their own militia.
Yeah. It's interesting, and it's also interesting because she's a leader essentially of this, and she literally looks like your suburb soccer mom, which is crazy.
Yeah, she does.
Like, it's not what you would expect. And Perry, Jeffrey Pierce, is like this commando guy. I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic, but it's cool. There's some stuff from the game, of course, and we're not gonna go on full detail. There is one thing I will say though at the beginning. I questioned when they were eating 20-year-old ravioli. Because I was like, them shells, wouldn't that be flour? But then again, it could be made before the whole outbreak and stuff, so.
If it's canned ravioli, that shit was probably made.
I mean, it's probably older than 20 years at that point. It's probably like, who knows? So, yeah. But there's one thing. Okay, just go ahead in your thing, because I have things I'm going to throw in. About it, and I'm gonna leave it alone. So we're gonna let you do your breakdown of the episode.
All right, I'll try to go through this pretty quickly because I know that once again we're starting to run low on time. But the episode starts off. We see that Ellie is playing with her gun that she stole the last episode. She's pulling a full ass Travis Bickle on the beginning of this episode. For those of you who are uninitiated, Travis Bickle is the main character from Taxi Driver. Just in case you guys are uninitiated. Anyway, but yeah, she's totally playing with this gun and the bullets. At one point, I was like, are they going to make her shoot this gun off on accident and it's going to cause a problem? But they didn't, and they saved the whole gun thing for later, which is cool. But like I noticed that she smelled the gun as well, like just sniffed it. It was weird. That part was very strange for me.
You don't like sniffing
watching
stuff?
it. Like, what do you think a gun smells like? It's metal, dude. What are you gonna get from that?
I mean, you
I,
pull a
I
gun and
know that
stuff. I
Ellie's
mean,
like,
maybe you get. I don't know.
I'm,
Sometimes you just have to sniff
just
stuff,
Ellie.
Christian.
I don't know. I'm not gonna sniff a gun. That's fucking weird. So anyway, we have that scene go on, and like I said, it serves a purpose. We get a little bit more inside of Ellie's head without words, which is cool. So if you just pay attention to her actions, you get where her head is, and I really like that. And then when she comes out of this abandoned gas station bathroom that she's playing with this gun, we see Joel, who is siphoning gas from other cars, uh, and he talks about how in this scene he talks about how they have to siphon gas like once every hour or so because it's been 20 years and gasoline breaks down over time. So a lot of the gas that they're getting is mostly water at this point. So they kind of burn through it quickly. And I thought that was a really cool scene because it makes real life sense. It's logical. So I like when they add little details, like I've said on pretty much every episode we've covered so far about that. Um, I also noticed that they are in Pittsburgh in the game, but they're going to Kansas City. No, I'm sorry.
They
They're
end up
going
in
to Kansas
City in
City.
this one.
Yeah, they're going to Kansas City in this one, but in the game they're going to Pittsburgh, and I think that they changed that around just because of like real life shit. It probably was. I don't know why they changed it. I didn't watch the thing at the end of the video. They probably explained
I
it.
feel like he said he just didn't
look
like Pittsburgh, and to make it look more like where they were shooting, like it just the
Yeah,
landmarks and stuff kind of went more with it.
that does make sense. If you have, I don't know if you noticed, but when they're driving around, the truck is the brightest, most colorful thing on the screen
Yeah.
when they're driving. You see the bright blue and everything, but the sky is gray looking. Everything around them is really gray and beat down and gross and grody and dead looking. But I noticed that the truck was very bright, so that was really cool. Um, and then Ellie finds the Hank Williams tape and starts playing that. Um, and then we get the little montage or whatnot. But then we get the best scene, one of the best scenes in the episode, which is pulled directly from the game when Ellie finds the queer porno mag in the back.
Yep.
And man, the dialogue is verbatim from the game, and I fucking love that scene so much. The only thing that was really different is I think the inflection when the end when she says "bye bye, dude," like that's a little different than the game because I think it's "bye bye, dude," but like they're different actors, so of course they have a different uh, inflection. But I remember that vividly from the game because it was so fucking funny.
You ever have
So
that
that
moments
was
where
really
like
cool.
you look away from the game for a second, like you look at your phone or maybe someone says something? That was one of those moments in the game where like I looked at something for a moment and then she was like, "Why are the pages sticky?" And I was like, "The hell?" It's like it just stuck in my head, and I was like, "What the hell are we talking about?"
I will say, like my fiance, I'll probably get on her nerves with this, but when I'm watching something or playing something, I am all in. Like I'm fully in it. I'm looking at every detail, everything that I can get from the screen. I'm trying to absorb every dialogue, every inflection on the words. I'm trying to absorb all of it. So if I'm on my phone or going off to do something, I either really really need to do that thing or I don't care about what I'm watching. But typically, if I'm watching something I care about, I'm all in. I'm fully invested. I don't want to miss a second. And that's just kind of watch TV and movies, and that's why sometimes I will opt to watch things by myself because I pay so much attention and I don't want to be interrupted when I'm doing so. So there's that. So no, I don't know what you mean by that because I'm typically so into
I
whatever I'm
multitask.
watching.
I
That
like hear things and like absorb it.
yeah, watching movies and TV shows is the only time my ADD calms down. Or you know what? Maybe my ADD it's actually off the charts when I watch stuff, and that's why I'm hyper focused on every detail
Maybe.
on the screen instead of what's going on around me. Like if I'm watching something, I'm not on my phone. Uh, and that's just how my brain works, man. I got to do it that way. I will say, back to the show.
Mhm.
In the game, that magazine is called Hard Man, but in the show, it's called Bearskin. And I did notice that. And I thought that was really funny because a lot of this episode has to do with puns, especially with Ellie. So I thought that was very, very funny. And I remember thinking when I saw that, I need to write that shit down so I don't forget. But that shit was hilarious, and I love that. And then we see that they camp out at a forest, and Ellie incorrectly assumes that they're camping out in a forest to avoid clickers, but Joel tells us that they are so far out right now from civilization and cities that there shouldn't be any clickers around. They are instead getting away from people, and I thought that was a really good way to say that, especially to somebody who's young. What's that?
That's also why they can't do a fire, because she thinks it's clickers, but it's really just so you don't learn the living.
So you don't learn the living, yeah. So he says that as well. Then we get the scarecrow pun scene, and Joel knows the answer, which makes Ellie laugh, but it also kind of pisses her off. But that's not in the game. In the game, he definitely doesn't know the answer to any of these puns.
And the pun book and the puns are in the game. She actually, there's dialogue of her reading these damn puns to Joel and like pretty much pestering him like a kid with all these puns, like nonstop.
And he also tells her that they're both going to be okay. He like reassures her that they can both sleep and they'll be fine. So she actually does sleep, and then we see later that Joel actually doesn't sleep at all this night. He stays up the whole night watching over her, so that nothing happens, and then makes coffee in the morning, to which Ellie complains about coffee. And
about the sleeping, did you notice how Joel sleeps? Joel sleeps facing like where oncoming danger would be. Like he's kind of facing out, protecting Ellie, like kind of putting her behind him like a barricade or something.
Absolutely. And I'll talk more about that later on in the episode, but I did notice that, and because he doesn't sleep here on the scene, a few other things in the episode later happen the way that they happen because he's so tired, and we'll get to it when we get there. But I did notice that in the truck, Joel talks about Tommy. He starts to open up a little bit and calls him a joiner. I do remember. And really quick on the coffee thing, they don't go into it too much in this episode, but they do pull dialogue directly from the game about how Ellie asked Joel, like, you used to go to a store and buy this every day, like talking about Starbucks essentially. And Joel, yeah, he went every day. And that's what most of us do. We drink coffee every morning. I'm more of a tea guy, but coffee is great, and I love coffee, and I try only to drink coffee on the weekends because, man, I don't know about you guys, but coffee doesn't always agree with me. So to avoid any issues, I try not to drink it as much as I used to. How about you, though, Sin? Are you an avid coffee drinker?
Daily, yeah. You know, like, as I used to not drink coffee really much, like, hardly at all. And it would be energy drinks and probably stuff that's not good for me. But as I've gotten older, like, I haven't had energy drinks in forever. And I just drink coffee.
Let me ask you this really quick. Quick tangent. Hopefully it's quick. How do you like your coffee?
We have, mine's like black with a little, it's like, what is it, almond cream? Like almond milk creamer or something? Just like a tiny bit of that in it. That's it.
That's practically the same as me. I don't like any sugar in it. I just want a little cream or a little milk, and that's all I want.
I want to get where I drink this black coffee just because I don't know. I know it's better for you. I feel like health-wise, black coffee is actually pretty solid because it goes into like keto diets and all. But I'm just not exactly there yet.
I'm not really like a keto diet person at all. I will say black coffee, though, it's too bitter. I need something. I don't need to sweeten it up. I just need it to be lighter and have less of a bite than regular black coffee does. But it also depends on the grade of coffee that you have, right? If you buy really, really good coffee, like you could probably just drink it black and be fine. But if you're drinking shitty coffee like I tend to do, you need something in it. Because I'll go to the gas station right now and buy a fucking 32-ounce coffee and be good to go. But that doesn't mean that it's good. It just means that I'm cool with it. So, my fiance, she is not a shitty coffee person. She needs it to be of a certain
standard,
of a certain variety. Yeah, thank you, standard. That's what I'm looking for. She needs it to be of a certain standard, and I understand that. Like, I don't think anybody can. Your stomach shouldn't be able to handle any gas station coffee. I'll tell you that, because at that point you're just drinking fucking earth juice. That's not the best for you.
You got it from out back. Liquefied sludge. Anyway, that's what Joel's coffee looked like.
It did look like sludge. Thank you for that. We'll jump back in it.
I love the coffee, like when she's just bashing his coffee and he slurps it, how he just is like
like a little
it's
kid.
like, this is my goodness. He's like, hell with you. It's so, like his reaction to it's so great.
Yeah, he looks her in the face when he's doing it too. That's really funny. Damn, I forgot. I didn't write that down, but I'm glad you said that.
They have really good chemistry. That's like one thing. Like I feel like their chemistry is just getting better and better. Like I really like their dynamic together.
It's nice. I mean, you need that for that's
it's a huge part of the show
for this type of show. Exactly, for the story. So anyway, after Joel kind of explains what Tommy is as a joiner, then he explains that he joined Tommy on his crusade to keep an eye on him. And during that time, that's when they both met Tess. And then that's when Tommy met Marlene, and she convinced him to join the Fireflies, to which Joel did not agree with at all. And then eventually Tommy left the Fireflies, and now they've lost touch, so that's why he's trying to find him. Because since he used to be a Firefly, he probably knows, the information that they need to get to. And during this scene, Ellie asks about herself, like, am I family? And Joel says, no, you're cargo. So he refers to her as cargo a second time. The first time we heard that was in the first episode, and now we've heard it again on the fourth episode. So I thought that's what Joel wants Ellie to think at this point. You can tell that he cares a little bit more about her than her just being cargo, because of what happens later on in the episode. But while they're going through the city, they pass a movie theater. I don't know if you caught this.
Mm-hmm.
They pass a movie theater, and on the
marquee,
the banner that's telling you what's coming out, what's playing. They're playing Underworld and Matchstick Man. I haven't seen Matchstick Man. I've seen Underworld plenty of times, and that movie actually did come out in September 2003. So that's another really great detail that they added again. So thank you for that, showrunners and everybody on the team. And I looked that up just to make sure. I was like, did Underworld come out in 2003? Totally did. Came out 2003, and it was in September. Same with Matchstick Men, which came out, I think, 2 weeks after Underworld. Like I said, I haven't seen Matchstick Men, so I can't speak to it, but I know it came out 2003. So really good detail. And then we get that scene, of course, from the games where the man comes out injured, asking for help, and Ellie's like, aren't we going to help him? And Joel's like, no, put your seatbelt on. And they just fucking drive straight through and almost hit this fucker, which is awesome because Joel knows what's up, right? He's not a fool.
I mean, at this point in the Infected, like in the apocalypse or all that, who's going to come out and ask for help like that? Like, you should know. Like, that's not happening. People, if they're asking for help, they're laying low somewhere. They're not going to go out and ask
Ellie's
somebody.
not
like,
privy.
You should know that.
She's definitely not privy to people bullshitting at this point. So Joel drives off, and they get attacked, and then their tires get popped over a spike strip, and they crash into a laundromat. But in the game, when they crashed, it was a grocery store, so they changed that. I didn't mind the change though. I thought it was fine. I didn't even notice it at first, and then I remembered food being in the background.
Of course, you would remember food. Always talking about food.
Food's great. Don't hate. Food's great. That's gonna be my new slogan. Then Joel orders Ellie, to hide in the wall and avoid the attackers while he deals with them. And at that point, Joel takes out like three people, two guys. He takes two guys out by shooting them, and then the last guy sneaks up on him and starts choking him out. And then Ellie slowly walks up, taking her sweet ass motherfucking time. She walks up and then shoots the guy, I'm assuming directly in his spine, severing his spinal cord because he can't feel his legs at all after that. And as soon as this guy gets shot, he immediately bitches completely out. Like, oh my God, sorry, we're not fighting anymore. Help me, my name is blah, blah, blah. My mom lives over here. Like, he starts pretty much making himself seem like the biggest victim of all time. And when I'm watching this, I'm just like, nah, man, fuck that. You was trying to kill my boy just 5 seconds ago. Fuck all of that noise. So Ellie is very clearly bothered by what she has just done and by the guy's pleads, and Joel takes the gun, tells her to go back into the wall, and he finishes the dude off by slitting his fucking throat, which is off camera, but you can hear it. And that's for a reason, because we focused at that point on Ellie going back to the wall, kind of being in the corner by herself, and just we see her face as the dude cries his last cry. And I will say this, for the listeners and for the viewers, fuck that guy. He got what he deserved. Uh, but that's seriously how I feel. Like, fuck that dude. There's no telling what he was going to do to Ellie, because obviously these dudes aren't, they don't have other women to be taken care of right now. So there's that. And then two, Ellie is a young girl at this point, and these guys they were trying desperately to kill both of them and take whatever they had. So yeah, screw that guy, 100%. Anyway, I really like that scene. For some, that may be hard to watch, and I totally get it. But yeah, Joel finishes that guy off, and that's the other thing I was going to say. He made sure to let us know that his name was Brian, and that'll come back up here in just a minute.
But I will say this Ellie too. Uses the gun for the first time. I'm pretty sure a dude's like kind of drowned in Joel. He's like pushed him underwater somewhere. Like,
yeah, he's drowning Joel. But in the game, Ellie straight shoots the dude in the head. Yeah. There's no hesitation. They wanted, in the show, I believe they wanted to keep her innocence a little bit longer for some reason. I do remember reading that article, but I didn't read the whole thing. So there is a reason why they didn't want Ellie to straight up kill this guy. I don't know exactly what it is, but apparently they're doing it on purpose, because in the game she just straight kills the dude. So there's that. But anyway, I thought that was a really, really good scene. It was well done. It was dramatic as fuck. But I did write this down as well, and I'm glad that I'm looking at my notes right now. Brian fucked around, and then he found out. That's exactly what happened in the scene. Then we get more rebels that show up. So I guess I wrote them down as rebels, so we'll just call them rebels for the rest of the episode. So more rebels show up, and then at this point we meet the rebel leader, who is Kathleen, who does in fact look like a soccer mom, which you described so eloquently for us earlier. And she's interrogating an old man who we find out to be her doctor. He delivered her when she was born.
Doctors are very, very important in this time frame too. There is not a lot of people that are capable of being a doctor, and yeah.
Exactly. But she's interrogating this doctor because he knows the whereabouts of several members who worked with Fedra, including a man named Henry, who turned in her brother, thus causing his death. So she's out for revenge. We know now that she's looking for her brother's killer at this point. She will stop at nothing to find this man. She thinks that Joel and Ellie are working with Henry. She immediately assumes this and gets everybody in her little town or whatever on board with this idea. She's obviously very persuasive with what she's doing, but it kind of looks like fear-mongering at this point. If we don't stop them now, they'll kill more people. Like, it's that kind of thing going on that we've seen so many times before. That mob mentality is what I'm trying to say. But it's done very tastefully here. It doesn't seem too agenda-y, if that makes sense. So I really do like it. It's not Evil Dies Tonight, thank fucking God. I actually do, however, want to get a shirt that says Evil Dies Tonight, so I can wear that every Halloween from now on. And hate myself for doing it, of course.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Man likes
I do. Ellie asked Joel once it's safe if he's all right, and I noticed that was really cool to see her asking him if he's all right, because she's the one who's definitely not all right in the scene. But I did like that. But of course, Joel bottles up what he's feeling, but he's not mad about her hidden gun. He actually apologizes to her for having to step in and he said he got careless, and that's why she had to step in and shoot a guy. And he pretty much tells her that it's not fair for somebody her age to have to go through something like that. And then Ellie says at this point that it wasn't her first time, which is not in the game. She doesn't say that in the game. So I thought that's weird. I mean, when was her first time? Is that going to be a part of her origin story that we haven't gotten to yet? Is that going to have something to do with Riley that we haven't gotten to yet?
That's my theory. Yeah.
You think it was Riley?
I would pretty much bet it's Riley. Like that's my. Because she's definitely not out there killing like rebels and stuff.
That's true. But then it wouldn't explain to me if her first time was actually Riley. It wouldn't explain to me why she seems to get such a kick, almost a turn on out of killing and death and all that. Because she's we've seen her twice at this point where she like really likes it, and then at this point in this episode when it happens, she's like mortified. So like, I want to get to the bottom of this, but I'm on board with the idea that you have there, because I think the same thing. But anyway, moving back on to what we were talking about, he does let her keep the gun, and he shows her how to hold it correctly, which I thought was a nice scene, and she was like super into it. And then he tells her to keep it in her bag, keep it in her backpack. But obviously she doesn't fucking listen because she's a teenage girl, and she puts it in her coat pocket instead, which I'm sure will come up
before she tries to put it like in her back pocket, and he's like, "You'll shoot your damn ass off," which is one of the greatest lines. I laughed so hard at that. One thing you didn't mention, whenever Joel is kind of apologizing to Ellie, he brings up his ear and that he's kind of deaf in, I think it's his right ear, I believe.
That hasn't come up yet.
I thought he said that during an apology. He said, "I didn't hear him coming."
He does say, "I didn't hear him coming," but he doesn't talk about his ear until later on. That's because Ellie brings it up, not him.
Is that sleeping bag scene? Is that when he talks?
Yeah, it's a sleeping bag scene. Okay. It will
jumping the gun.
It's the second sleeping bag scene. Yes. Yeah. We'll get to. But yeah, you're on the right page there. You're on the right page for sure. Then we go back to Kathleen at this point, and her man shows up. Her man shows her like the guy we were just talking about. And I literally just forgot his name. I keep wanting to say Peter. What's the dude's name? He was in the game Last of Us, and he looks totally different. We just looked him up.
Oh, you're talking about Perry.
Perry, thank you. I kept wanting to say Peter for some reason.
I need to send you this picture of him, because every picture I've seen of him previously looks just like he looks in the show. This picture does not look like him at all. Like, it's tripping me out. I think this is a different guy.
It's probably not him, to be honest. Did you just send it?
No, okay, those look like him. God, some of these pictures do not look like this man.
They might not be, dude. I'm gonna keep moving on though, because we're running out of time.
Keep going.
So anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, I keep wanting to say Peter. Jeez, what is happening to me? What's his name again?
Perry.
Perry. Where's Peter coming from? I don't
Perry
know
the platypus.
Perry thank you, Phineas and Ferb. So Perry shows her an attic where Henry and someone else have been staying. They've clearly run out of food, and we see a bunch of superhero drawings where they have like dynamo masks on and red capes, like Superman-esque red cape and these dynamo masks. And for those of you who don't know what a dynamo mask is, think Robin from Batman and Robin. The mask that he has is called a dynamo mask. It just covers up your eyes. So that's what that is. So yeah, there's a bunch of those drawings. When I first saw that, it looked like dead bodies, because I thought the capes were blood at first, and then it was like, no, they're flying, not laying down. So I had to really look at that scene to see what was going on there. Anyway, so we see that's in there, and that she knows that they have been stealing food from their rations because all of the canned goods are up there, where they've been living in this attic for God knows how long. So they know that they're still in the city, and they need to find them. So they start looking everywhere for them at this point. But right after this scene, after we look at the crayon drawings and whatnot, we see that there's a giant crater with something moving around under it. And I don't want any spoilers from the games, skip ahead like 30 seconds. But I think going to be our first bloater we
Yep,
see from the games.
I think so too.
It just make the most sense for me for it to be under there. And when I'm watching an episode with my fiance, she was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I didn't want to ruin it for her, so I didn't tell her. But I was thinking, it's a fucking bloater. It's got to be.
Ellie's already
But
brought
anyway,
him up in the first episode where Tess kind of laughed at
yeah,
him.
she did, and looked at Joel and was like, "Oh my god." So I thought that was cool. But instead of Kathleen dealing with that problem at that point, she tells him to keep it quiet and that they'll deal with it later. They got to deal with Henry first. And Perry reluctantly agrees, and he goes on about his business. And then Ellie and Joel at this point are trying to break into the tallest building that they can get to, so they can get a lay of the land, and then also find somewhere that's safe to sleep for the night. And then she asks him about the man earlier. She asked him how he knew the man earlier wasn't actually hurt. And then at this point, Joel kind of explains how he's been on both sides of it. He's been the guy pretending to be hurt. He's been the person on the other side. He's done it all. So that's how he knows. And then we get a little bit more into his backstory, knowing that Joel hasn't always been a good person, which we already knew just by what's going on in this episode. Like, Jesus Christ, the first episode, we see him just casually throwing a child's body in a fire.
This is all from the game too. That conversation's pretty verbatim from the game.
Yes, which I love, man. Like I'm so glad that they keep these core elements in almost word for word. Like, it really makes you feel rewarded watching this. But to move on, after he says that, she asks him if he's ever killed innocent people before, to which he doesn't answer. And then they move up 33 floors of the tallest building that they can find in the city, and they get to 33 floors before Joel just can't go anymore. And at this point, he lets us know that he's 56 years old, and he calls Ellie shit, which is awesome. And I laughed about that. I thought that was really funny. And then we got that as well a couple episodes back when Tess was saying, you jump flights of stairs with our knees and see how you feel. So I love them going back to that. And then at that point, we see that Joel is straight home aloneing the front door with the broken glass, trying to put it all in front of the front door so he can hear people coming in, and hopefully maybe they'll step on some broken glass as well and hurt themselves. But this is the scene that you were talking about earlier when Ellie pretty much says that she notices that his right ear is kind of shit. He can't hear out of it very well. And then she asks him, is it from shooting guns? Is it from getting shot there? And he said, no, it's from shooting. So if you want to keep your hearing, stick with your knife, letting her know that because he's been shooting guns for so long with nothing protecting him, that it's blown his hearing out in one of his ears.
Or is it from when he got shot, when the bullet grazed me as that scar from maybe when Sarah died? It's a combination.
Could be. I mean, it could be a combination. I don't even have a reason to lie about that at this point, but you know what? Now I'm thinking about it, I take it back. He doesn't want Ellie to continue using guns, so it does make sense that he would say something like that. But I still believe him for the most part. I do think it is a combination.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get, if you shoot guns a lot, you're going to get, like, what is it, tinnitus or something? Like,
I don't know what it is you'll get because I don't shoot guns, but we'll go with that.
So, I mean.
Sure. I like it.
Sure.
He questions her at this point when they're laying down in their sleeping bags. He questions her and pretty much says, what did you mean about this not being your first time hurting someone? And she doesn't want to talk about it. And he says, it's not fair. And she asks him if it gets better, like with age. And he tells her, no, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get easier either, hurting people. So we get that really nice scene from them. And then that's right after that is when we actually have the conversation about his ear being busted on the right side from shooting so much on that side. And then we get the last pun of the episode where she says, can I ask you something? And he says, yes. She says, did you know diarrhea is hereditary? It runs in your genes. And the scene where we finally get to see Joel smiling and laughing, to which I thought was very sweet. It was a really good scene, very wholesome. And Joel sleeps, finally. He hasn't slept in days. Probably since they started this journey with Tess, he hasn't slept. And he's out. He's completely knocked out at this point, and he's woken up by Ellie calling his name fiercely at this point, to where he opens his eyes. He sees that Ellie is being held at gunpoint, and when he goes over, he sees a kid stab him in the face with a gun in his face. And if you take a look, you notice that that kid has the same dynamo mask painted on his face that was drawn on those crayon drawings earlier when we were looking at the attic with Kathleen. So we know that at this point we have Sam and Henry, who are from the games, and I won't go into their characters too much from the game because I just want you guys to be able to see it.
All you need to know is if the show's been sad at this point and you don't like sad stuff, then you better buckle up.
Seriously.
Spoiler, if you watch The Last of Us, get ready for sad shit constantly. Like, they're just constantly going to mess with your emotions. That's just the whole thing of the story. Just get ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's pretty much all we got. We are running out of time. I will say one other thing. I forgot to bring this up earlier. There's news about the Kang movie, the Ant-Man, whatever it's called, the new Ant-Man movie with Kang as the villain.
Just did a quick 360. It was like Last of Us Kang.
Yeah, I have to do it quickly because we're out of time. But what I forgot to say about that is it's getting mixed reviews, which I expected. Obviously, it's an Ant-Man movie, so it's going to get mixed reviews, and it's a new villain, so it's going to get mixed reviews, and it's a Marvel movie, and a lot of people have Marvel fatigue, so of course it's going to get mixed reviews. It's not Spider-Man, right? So of course. What I'll say though is when you're reading the mixed reviews, it makes it seem like it's actually a pretty good movie if you read between the lines. A lot of people's complaining about this movie not being too funny. And my biggest complaint with most Marvel movies, as you guys know from listening to this podcast, is Marvel's too fucking funny all the time. And I don't like that necessarily because not everything is funny. So they cut a bit of the humor out, which is great. Kang apparently is a very good villain. Everybody has praised Jonathan Majors' acting and his portrayal of Kang in this movie. So I'm excited to see him as this new villain. I can't wait for that. And then there was one other thing. Michelle Pfeiffer's character. Apparently she does a bang-up job as well. So I'm super, super, super excited to see that. But other than that, though, man, I'm excited for this movie. Like, I haven't been excited for Ant-Man. I do like Jonathan Majors a lot, so I want to see him do more shit. And him being in the Marvel films, hopefully they will add something that we need to them. And his character is completely different from the one that we saw in Loki. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. But anyway, that's the news. That's the episode of Last of Us. If you have anything else, let us know. I'm all out.
Just another really good episode of Last of Us, staying true to the source material and little deviations here and there. It shows how cutthroat people are when Kathleen shoots the doctor because, like I said, doctors are extremely rare and important. And for her just to go blast the damn doctor like that without any hesitation.
She did take that dude out quick with the quickness.
Yeah. Soccer mom is not playing. But I expect this next episode is going to be really good. I'm super excited to see Henry and Sam. And I'm on board with you thinking it's a bloater, and I kind of think we're going to see the bloater this episode, which time of recording this actually comes out tomorrow because I'm thinking they're scheduling it ahead. They're coming out with the episode this week on Friday, probably because of the Super Bowl and not trying to compete with, all the Super Bowl stuff, which is smart.
Yeah, they released that information. It's definitely coming out because they don't want it to be overshadowed by the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they announced last week it was coming on Friday, and that's just kind of what I speculated. It made sense because, the show, I think, has been going up in viewership every week, I believe. It's crazy. And one note I did see, I watched a little thing. It was actually Nick Offerman on a talk show, and he, I guess, got sent the stuff and was like, I'm too busy to do this. And his wife read it and was like, you're flying to, I think they shot in Canada. And she's like, you're going. And he was like, oh, okay. And she's like, yeah, you're going. It's that good. You're going. And he was like, so your wife picked your job? He's like, she does that a lot. And she even picked my outfit. And he's like, yeah, she has great taste. So that's why he was Bill. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, that's it for the episode. Christian, another great job with your detailed notes. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I kind of expected we already had the Raleigh flashback, but now I'm thinking, I don't think it's going to be this next episode. I'm thinking it's going to be an episode or two down the line because it's going to be pretty impactful and it's going to give you more depth on Ellie. And I still think if they follow the game, that's going to be maybe her first or only kill. I don't know if she has more after that, but I think it's going to be that, and it's going to be a pretty intense episode. Sorry, spoiler. But they may do something different. We'll see what they do because everything's not being exact the same. But that's going to be it for this episode. It's time now that we go ahead and
pass the whiskey.
That's right. Get your
Whiskey
for the last call question, and I got one for you this week because we were talking about Dead Space. You know, while playing Dead Space and getting all them nostalgia vibes, I got to thinking, Christian, you're a survival horror fan, right?
I am.
As am I, and I've played survival horror games for a big part of my life. A big part. So I was thinking, what off the top of your head would you say are, we're not going to do individual games, but 3 survival horror franchises, or you can just tell your top 3 survival horror games. Give me, and it only have to be 3. If you want to do 1 or 2, it's okay too. But I want to know.
Survival horror games. Well, if we're not doing just franchises and we're saying individual,
you can do either one, whichever you want to do. Like for me, I would probably just do franchises just to be, that's just me, without going super in depth, because I could break it down and we could definitely break up franchises and stuff like that.
Well, if we're doing franchises, Resident Evil,
yeah,
top of the list. Let's see. There's a lot, but not all of them are great. You know what? I'm actually gonna do individual, to just for the sake of this, because it's a little faster for me. Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
Which, I mean, Village is great. I do really like Village, but Resident Evil 4, there was just
fair. Resident Evil is regarded as one of the best in the series, if not the best by a lot of people. So I see that. Yeah.
So I really liked 4. I really liked Alan Wake. I don't know if you remember that game.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Well, it wasn't like a if survival horror games typically are like rated R, this one would be rated PG-13, right? But it was still a very good game. I liked it a lot. I know they apparently like remade it very recently. I haven't checked it out or looked into it at all, so I should probably do that. But Resident Evil 4, Alan Wake, and probably Dead Space. There's a few others I'm thinking of, like Amnesia was really good. There is, I can't think of Clock Tower. I played Clock Tower 3 a lot, and I really enjoyed that one. Obviously, Silent Hill 2 being the standout. But off the top of my head, Resident Evil 4, Dead Space, the first one, and Alan Wake.
Okay. I would probably just do franchises and not necessarily, I mean, maybe in order. I don't know. I would probably say Resident Evil franchises, Silent Hill, and probably Dead Space. Although I do really like Layers of Fear a lot. Alan Wake's really good. But yeah, I'd probably go with them just real quick without breaking down. Not saying I like all the Resident Evils as much, but there's... You said Silent Hill 2 is your favorite?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Mine would probably be Silent Hill 1. I loved Silent Hill 1.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Loved it. Okay. But, yeah. So, a little change of pace, because I'm thinking about... Parasite Eve probably doesn't count. Dino Crisis, would that count?
I wouldn't count Dino Crisis, but I understand why you would put it up there.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's just, like I thought of adding BioShock, but BioShock is more actiony than it is horror, so I didn't think to put that one on there.
But then again, some of the Resident Evils also start blending. Resident Evil 5 is way more action than it is horror to me.
Yeah, I think Resident Evil 4 is the last one that we got for a while, up until 7. Yeah. So yeah, for sure. That's why it's difficult. But when I first played
BioShock is a really good one though. That would be
Fatal Frame is another one. I didn't play all the Fatal Frames, so I don't know which ones are the good ones. I played Fatal Frame 2 and a little bit of 3, and that's it.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, but if you'd like us to go more in depth on some survival horror and stuff like that, let us know in the comments. We would love to. I'm sure Christian would love to do a list and go through it because lists are fun.
Man, that would be so fun.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for this episode. It's time that you, yeah, that's it. That's all we got. You know, if you would like your question to be featured in the last call, like we just did, like we just talked about. Join the Guild server, guild.gg/sinisterpack. In the application, put from the podcast. And then there's a section for episode chat. There's a section for last call questions or Sinister Tales where you can post spooky stuff for us to talk about on the show. Plenty of stuff to talk about in there. It's a great way to stay in touch with the community and talk to us as well. You can also hit us with a DM for your last call question on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok at Sippin With Sin, SIPPIN with Sin. DM us there, follow us there, show us some love. We would love to talk to you and get your question featured. New episodes come out every Wednesday on the audio platforms: Spotify, Google, Anchor, Apple, Overcast, all that stuff. 8 a.m. Central Time every Wednesday. Rate it 5 stars, share it, subscribe to it, follow it, all that stuff. Pass it along to a friend. Spread the word. The video version of the podcast comes out every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Also on my YouTube, youtube.com/IamSinister. You can see it there. Thumbs up it, subscribe to it. Comment down there. Let us know what you think about the episode or talk to us about the episode. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, that's where you can find the Sippin With Sin stuff on the socials. You can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at IamSinisterTV. And then you can find me streaming on twitch.tv/IamSinisterTV. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/IamSinisterTV. And you can find me streaming on TikTok at IamSinisterTV. There you go. So you can find me. Christian, where can the folks find you and your dreadlocks? And your screen shirt. I just noticed his screen wearing Ghostface.
You guys can see me in my dreadlocks and my scream shirts on Horrorverse Pod on all the socials and at Venin Inc. all one word. VENANDINK all one word on all the other socials. That's where you guys can find me.
That's right, and he can spell too. So proud of him. All right, guys and girls, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, you're a real one. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys next week. You don't have to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. It's time for Christian to shut it down.
Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of Sipping With Sin. Be sure to leave a 5-star review, smash that like button, and leave your comments and recommendations down below. But, as always, every time I leave you guys, leave you with 3 words, and those 3 words are, say them with me, don't get gutted.
See you guys next time.